Today we're going to be looking at putting together a soldering station. My name is Andrew Berry and welcome to At the Bench's YouTube channel. As you know, we're still on lockdown here in the UK, and I've been asking At the Bench's YouTube members for sort of ideas on the type of films that you want me to show you. And one of them was, can you describe and show how to put together a soldering station? Well, I've just got a brand new bench here, and yeah, I want to protect this for as long as possible. So really, perhaps what I should be doing is having a little soldering station away from my bench here in another area. But I do like to work together in this little area by here, because I find I'm just far more productive in this my little cockpit, so to speak. So I don't like to go across the other side of the studio to do any soldering or anything like that, because I can do it here in front of me. Now, what I'm going to describe for you today here is what we can do over there in our soldering station or annealing station, that sort of thing as well. But I like to try and do everything if I possibly can here. So what do we actually need for a soldering station or a soldering area? Well, really you need some sort of soldering surface. Now that can come in various forms. We can buy these little honeycomb blocks, just like this here. They are absolutely brilliant. You can buy small little blocks like this as well, little soldering blocks, come in various sizes. You can even buy these, let me not get them, let me get a nice brand new one. We can buy these soldering boards, I think, or solderite boards in the US. And this is what you actually need, because this provides not only a heat-proof surface from the surface that you're working on, but also provides a reflective surface for when you are soldering your piece, because it's always good to have something that is reflecting the heat as opposed to absorbing and taking the heat away. That's why I would never use anything like a kiln brick, for instance, or even a household brick. It wants to absorb the heat and take the heat away, and that is not what you want. You want something that will reflect the heat back onto the piece that you've got here. It'll heat up a lot quicker. Now here on my bench here, this would be a little bit overkill. This would be a little bit too large. So I'm going to use one of these smaller little boards here, about an 8" by 6". What's that? 200 by 150 millimeters. Yep. And on top of this, I'm going to put one of my little soldering blocks as well. If you happen to use one of these little honeycombs, you can virtually see through them. Quite sure whether the camera can pick that up. There we go. You can I can just see through it. The problem is, if you use this alone on your bench, the heat will be sort of reflected back, but also the heat will go through it as well, and it'll burn your bench. If you do decide to use one of these, put a little soldering board underneath, and these little honeycomb boards are ideal if you want to put little pins in to hold your piece together to solder. Very careful with these, be very careful, because they do break, so be very careful putting them down. If you drop them, they will break. So that's the sort of soldering surface that we need. You could even say, well, that is my little soldering station, that's all I need. But what I find sort of annealing larger pieces, annealing bangles, and I've got a bigger torch, and I really want to confine the heat. If I have my torch here pointing in this direction, the heat is going to be going all around here and being sort of taken away. But as I said just now, we need something to reflect the heat and bring the heat back, straight back at you. Now, I made up my own little soldering station, and it looks something like this. So basically what we've got here are these boards. These are approximately 12" 300 millimeters. We've got one on the back there. We've got on the sides, we've made some slopes here. So we've made the two sides out of one board. We've got another 2 boards then on the bottom. Why 2 boards? Because that's going to produce a real nice insulation that won't allow the heat to get through to your surface that you're working on. This is absolutely brilliant. As you can see, it's a fantastic area. We've got reflective boards all around, and it really will keep the heat contained within the area that we've got, and it won't damage any paintwork or any walls or anything around it should you happen to have it on a bench. or on a worktop near the wall. If you're annealing large pieces, brilliant, the heat stays in this area. If you're melting down into an ingot mold or doing some casting, cuttlefish, delved clay, that sort of thing, absolutely brilliant. You've got lots of space in here. You can put the ingot mold, you can put your crucible and so forth. Absolutely fantastic. This is absolutely brilliant. I love this. Absolutely gorgeous. Only recently, Durston have produced a similar version to that, and this is what they have come up with. This is very similar, move over there, to what I had already built. It's slightly different. It's got a removable top here. Now, again, with this, it's exactly the same principle. You've got the boards all around you here. A nice area that you can solder in, or you can even anneal in. This also has the benefit of having a bit of a roof on it as well, because you know when you come to anneal, you need to make sure that the temperature is just right, and you can tell that by looking. And if you've got bright lights like we have all around us here in the studio, it's very difficult to get a good indication of the color of the metal, because the bright lights tend to disguise that a little bit. But by having a little roof on top of it like this, it does keep the bright lights away, and it's nice and dark, as you can see, a nice little dark area here. You can also have this facing this way around and removing this side piece like that, and also putting that side piece on the top as well if you wanted to keep it nice and dark. Again, little confined area like this as well. And this is absolutely brilliant. Let me put that down on the floor out of the way a moment. So again, an ideal type of soldering station. Now, also what you can have is like a soldering wig, something like a tripod that you can have, you can again use for soldering. This is very good because you can get underneath. You'd have like a wig, a bird's nest of binding wire. There's a big ball of loose binding wire all wrapped up, flattened and placed upon the top. And you can get then your torch from underneath as well if you're perhaps doing bezels. You want to get the heat all around the piece. Another thing that you can have is something like a little turntable, like this. And again, this is absolutely brilliant because we've got a nice bit of a soldering board on top. And again, when you've got the flame on it and you want to go all the way around the piece, instead of having to stand up and walk around the piece, you can simply spin the turntable around and make sure you get a 360 access to the piece you're soldering. So these couple of items are great. They are not a necessity. They are a good little investment. Again, this one is from Durston. So I have a lot of Durston, don't I? So this turntable is from Durston. That metal soldering station as well is from Durston. But as I say, you can make up your own using these soldering boards. That's basically about all I can say about that's like a soldering station. The little soldering station here, as I said, these are 1 foot, 30 centimeter boards, just simply put together. I've put a few screws in through the side, or I've put some panel pins just to hold it. But something like this is brilliant because you can bring it onto your bench if you need to do some large scale soldering, annealing, casting, that sort of thing. It'll protect the surface of your bench. We've got a double layer on the bottom of boards, total insulation. Take it off, put it to the one side, and you can carry on working without having to get up, walk into the other side of the workshop. You can do everything here in your little cockpit, in your own little bench. So there we go. That's everything that you actually need for making a little soldering station. Start off with the soldering board, little soldering block on top, and develop your soldering station from there. One other thing that's actually very handy is this. This is a little third hand. It's got a weighted base. It's got a cross-lock tweezers on the top. You push the handles, the ends open up. Another absolutely invaluable piece of equipment. I always have mine on my bench. It's always right in front of me here, and it's ideal for holding little jump rings and holding rings and holding whatever whilst you're soldering onto it. You've got some heat-proof handles as well here, which are really great because once you've heated it, you need to squeeze the tweezers to release it, to put it in your safety pickle. So there we go. I'll leave some links down below to these particular products if you're interested in them. I think they may be sometimes affiliate links, so At The Bench does gain a couple of pennies if you decide to click the links and buy anything from the suppliers. I think that applies to Amazon. There may be some Amazon links down below, I'm not quite sure. And that's about it. That is all the things that you need for setting up a soldering station in your own workshop. Don't forget, please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and smash the little bell icon on the side there if that is something that you're into, to be notified when films go live on our YouTube channel. Don't forget, please give this film a thumbs up if you like it, and don't forget, please share it with your friends. I'd absolutely love you to. But in the meantime, my name's Andrew Berry for At The Bench's YouTube channel. Take care. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.